Hi, guys. How do we let go of things that we know are devastating to us? People, objects, or ideas? Welcome to Remind Us. My name is Aiden, and today's video is just about that. A friend of mine asked me a question, and I asked if I could put it into a video because I like the idea of making it a video. And I would like to start this with a little story that relates directly to me, and it might be something that you will recognize in your own life. It may have happened to you, it may not have happened, but the idea is to see that you will have been stuck on something so badly that normal functioning in your life became very difficult. This story happened in Belgium, where I grew up. I think I was about 15 years old, and I thought I had met the girl of my dreams. Oh, I was convinced she was the girl of my dream. Now, she was 2 years younger than me, which was very difficult. I'm 15, she is 13, so we're a little young to have an actual relation, but nevertheless, we were close friends. Now, as we grew older together, and I'm only talking month by month here, summer comes, winter comes, we became very close friends. And I had made it clear several times, either with simple gifts and presents, a handwritten letter. Cell phones started to exist back then, so a text here and there. Nothing vulgar, just very friendly, polite, open, honest, truthful. All of these things. I was always myself with her. And yes, occasions happened where I had expressed that I had feelings for her that went beyond friendship. And she always avoided it when I came up with a topic like that and easily brushed it off by saying, "You're a very good friend of mine, and I think I want to keep it that way." Which really hurt my feelings. But then on other random days, she would actually say that she would think about me often too. That's all she said. She didn't say in a romantic way, in a boyfriend girlfriend way, just something like that. And it just made my heart flutter again, like, woohoo, it's on. That was difficult for me because as time went on, I was in my mid teenage years. I started going up 16, 17. My sexual drive is waking up. And I don't know if hers wasn't awake yet, but she wasn't interested in talking even about that. I said, "Can we just have sex as friends for now, maybe?" But she wouldn't have any of it. She never gave in. She did stay the night at my house one time. Nothing happened there. I behaved. I promised her I wouldn't do anything that she would regret later or we would regret later. But this was a huge burden on my life back then. Whether I was at work or I was in my bed trying to go to sleep, she was on my mind day and night. It didn't matter if she had been mean to me, friendly, or just quiet for days at a time. I would think of her as the most important, all circumventing person in my life. Like everything to me revolved around her. We lived in the same city, so we were a bike ride apart from each other. Yeah, bikes. We didn't drive cars before we were 18 back then. And yet we wouldn't see each other every day, and that was fine with me. So I think the worst part for me became the time where she actually started having relations with other people, guys that I didn't know. And it's not that I would make her miserable for it. I actually respected it. I always respected that I was her friend, nothing more. But what really hurt my feelings very often. Oh boy, the battery is running low. That's the problem. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta plug in the charger. Okay. Sorry about that. That's what you get with live streaming. um, yes, she would start getting into relations, and I left her alone in that. I never told her what to do, what not to do. I just listened as a friend. But what struck me very weird is that I had to hear all the suffering she was going through in those relations. I'm not going to get into detail what kind of sufferings these were, but it was bad. It's the kind of stuff you wouldn't wish on anybody. That was very confusing to me because I always knew I was the perfect partner for her. Yes, maybe I was a little egotistical back then, but I was a kind, loving guy. I didn't stick my neck out beyond normal. I was just being myself, a genuine, helpful, friendly, lovable person. So yeah, it hurted me very hard every time when I had to hear the kind of things she was suffering in her relations. And still, she was not interested in a relation with me. The other side of this part is that, as I said, I had a sexual drive by now and I really wanted to get laid. So I started looking for a partner too, knowing that I would always love that one person that did not want more than me from friendship. And I had gone through several relations. And here's the funny part. Just like she talked to me about all her boyfriends and how it was always terrible and a disaster, I didn't do the same to her, like venting in how terrible everything was. I would just share my experiences with her that I was having with whatever partner I was with at the time. And here's the funny thing, she always spoke to me in a way that made it sound like no matter who I was seeing, they were never going to be as good as her. How confusing is that? I want a relation with her, but she doesn't want to. At the same time, when I'm in a relation with someone else, she's pointing the finger at herself. Hey, I'm here. I was so lost back then. Of course, I had my relations, and she was never there to see it because I was smart enough to have these relations out of town or make sure they were in my apartment where my mom lived. I mean, I lived with my mom obviously, but yes, always in the privacy, so she would never have to see it in person. But it was difficult because it was always a weight on me. My fantasies still revolved around her, but I was having relations with other people instead. That was very surreal and confusing to me. And I'm not gonna lie, more often than not, I felt like just killing myself because I had no idea what to do with that. Nothing else existed in the world for me. Nothing else mattered in the world for me. At work, all I was doing was thinking about her or nothing at all, like literally killing myself. That was just a great solution to me at the time. So, yes, early on in my life, I started really looking into what on earth is it that makes this person so important to me that nothing else matters. Most people would argue, yeah, that is what love does. And at the time, I believed it and I figured out that if that's what love is, it really sucks. If you can have a relation with a person like that and it is genuine for the both of you and all you can see is each other, that's got to be amazing. But I don't think there is a lot of relations out there like that. Then again, I won't doom anybody. If you have it, awesome. I'm happy for you. So that was a very difficult time in my life, and I'm trying to explain this to you so you can see I couldn't see anything but this girl, no matter what I did in my life. And She was actually single-handedly the biggest reason why I left Belgium. It didn't matter where I was, where I went. She would always be on my mind. She would always be in my life, literally. Like, when we went out with friends every now and then, she would be there. I would be there with my friends. Our friend groups were kind of together. That's how I got to know her in the first place. So it was difficult. There was just no avoiding her. There was no avoiding how I felt towards her. And here's the weirdest part: none of our friends knew that. We always kept this private between us, which to me in hindsight is again a great quality, I think. I'm not big on broadcasting everything from your personal life out into the world and see what comes back. I'm not big on that. I like my privacy. I like that I care enough about people who are close enough to me that I don't need to vent to everybody else about what's going on with my partner and me. No. But you see what I mean? Making my world revolve around that one person made it impossible for me to see anything else. Even if I was having a good time with somebody else, I would be back to reality as soon as that good time was over. I would start thinking about that girl again. So, I am also making this video because a friend of mine in America asked me a very specific question, and it's three questions really, and I'm going to read the question and then I will give you my thoughts on that. Why do we hold on to people, things, and ideas that we know we need to let go of? So, if you heard the whole story I just expressed to you, this question obviously relates directly to that story. Why do we hold on to it? I think we do that because that single thing makes us feel alive. It makes us feel important. It makes us feel like we have purpose. And it makes us feel like we have a reason to live. I would also say that this is very close to the definition of a addiction. Yes. Why do we hold on to people like that? They make us feel special. And that is not something we easily do by ourselves. When we are self-reflective on our gender, on each, geez, when we are self-reflecting on ourselves, it is rarely in a positive light. I have been lazy. I haven't cleaned the house. I should go clean my teeth. I should go wash my hair. I should go lose weight. When we're alone, that generally is the way that we think, in a negative way. It's not easy for us to just be happy with ourselves. So when a person comes along and they tell you and make you feel like you are the most amazing thing that is precious, and you can very easily cling to that. Why do we hold on to things like that? Again, they make us feel special. That thing might have an emotional attachment for us. In my last relation, for example, I saw something like that. My last marriage, I mean, she had a antique table with 6 chairs that belonged to her great great grandmother, and she wouldn't let go of it because it belonged to a great great grandparent. But that table and the chairs took up the whole dining room area, and we only used it once a year, Thanksgiving or Christmas. But you see, you're holding on to this thing that's hogging up so much space in your house. And I'm not saying family ornaments or garbage, not at all. What I am saying is, do you need it in your life? Could somebody else use this better than you are? Your attachment to this thing is stopping you from walking away from it, from moving on, from using the space for better purposes. It's good to have a dining room by all means, but I have a kitchen that has its own eating area. It has a table and chairs that we were also using during the marriage. But this table was something separate. This room belonged to a person that had died decades ago. Now I do remember when I was a young kid, and I think I told you in the first video that I made my introduction, I had a huge attachment to my teddy bear. That thing went everywhere with me, and if something happened to it or I couldn't find it, it was the end of the world. I have looked at that as an adult and asked myself, why was that so? Why was that bear so important? And I actually remember vividly that I would have conversations with that bear. Since I was an only child, I had nobody really to talk to, nobody to, cry my problems onto, nobody to ask for advice. And this sounds weird, right? Asking a teddy bear for advice or crying your troubles onto them. But I had made this teddy bear in the most important thing of my life that knew everything about me. See, it almost sounds like I'm talking about a living thing. Well, that's a funny thing. As a child, you can make anything a living thing in your fantasy. And that's what I had done to that teddy bear. I think I was almost 18 or 21 even by the time I finally let that bear stay in bed. I mean, I stopped dragging it along somewhere in my mid-teens, like early teens even, like 12, 13 years old. I'm just saying that bear never went in the trash and out of sight. It was always in bed where I came home at night, something like that. But that thing had a huge impact on my life back then. I had never let go of it because I assigned an enormous emotional value to the teddy bear. And that is why I could not let go of it. I assigned it an emotional value. The same thing with the dining room table. It was an emotional value. You could have sold that thing for $5 or $10,000, way above the value. It probably would not have made a big difference. Sure, if the money was big enough, it would have, you might have changed your mind, but you would probably regret that you are selling out. You're not selling, you're going to feel like you're selling out, like you're getting rid of something you don't really want to get rid of. So it's important that we actually investigate a little bit. What is it that we're clinging on to and why? That's what this video is about. So, why do we hold on to ideas like that? It's the same thing. Ideas don't live in the real world, they live in our world, in our bubble, in our mind. That is where ideas like that live. And as I said with my first story in this video, the girl in Belgium that I grew up with, that I always hoped to be my partner in life, that was an idea. I had built this up in my head into the most amazing thing. And as long as I was in my head, everything was great. But when reality came down on me, my life sucked. When I was alone in bed at night, that's what I would do. I would fantasize that we were going on vacations together. Oh, yes, these imaginations were very detailed and very thoughtful. Like, I put a lot of time in it back then because that was the person I wanted to spend my life with. And essentially, I was in my head. So, some small part of us knows that we should let go of these things, and yet we cling onto them regardless. Why do we do that? Again, they make us feel alive somehow, some way. And we feel that if we give that up, we are giving up feeling alive. It's as simple as that. So, the second part of this question is, how do we figure out why we feel the need to so desperately hold on to something that isn't meant for us to keep. And I think this is where the problem actually is rooted. We actually do feel that we are meant to keep it. We feel like as if we are going to lose that. It will be a devastation to us. It will be the end of our life. We're never going to be happy again. So, how do we figure out how to let go of these things? You need to realize that whatever it is you have these feelings towards, you are having these feelings. Whether the object is there or not, you will have these feelings. I'll give you a silly example. Well, it's not silly, it's actually pretty serious, but say your mother had died, but before she died, you had not even visited her for the last 3 years. Suddenly, at the news of her death, you are devastated. But you were fine not seeing your mom for 3 years. Why? Because in your imagination, you could easily recall lots of memories with your mother. Good memories, bad memories, it doesn't matter. You're recalling a life with your mother. So her absence wasn't really an absence. She just felt very alive inside of you. I have my mother is still alive, my father too, and I have explained the same thing to my mother. I said, "You raised me so well that I feel so independent now that I don't need anybody anymore. Like nobody to take care of me. Like you've raised me so well, I'm perfectly self-sufficient now." And that gave her both happy tears and sad tears. Why? Well, she hoped her children would visit her often, of course, but also happy tears because I made her feel a very motherly pride into her son, in me. And I meant every word that I had told my mother. You did so well that I essentially don't need you anymore. Of course, I can't say that out loud because it wouldn't come out right. But you know what I mean? Like, but I do talk to my mom at least once a month. Mind you, she lives in Belgium. I live in America. There is a 6 hour time difference. It's not always easy to catch each other on the phone. But I do my best to make that a thing. I just cannot talk to her daily, sometimes not even weekly. And I have explained that to her. I said, my imagination is, or my memory even, is so alive. I just don't feel the need to talk to you constantly. Like I always recall our last conversation in enough detail that your voice has stayed with me for the entire time I haven't heard you. So for a lot of people, it's difficult to understand, especially my mom. I mean, of course she misses me. I'm all the way in America. She hasn't seen me in the last couple of years. And I do my best to every other year send her money so she can come live with me in America for a month, sometimes 2 months. That has happened 3 times now, I think. And in 2 months, my sister is doing the same. She is coming over with her husband and her 3 children. And I'm looking forward to it. My God, I haven't spoken Flemish in so long. Anyway, I am trying to point out that this feeling is something that you carry inside of you, whether a person is in front of you or not. You can imagine them, the way they make you feel about yourself. You can keep that alive forever if you want. But as you slowly, through the course of your life, go through that process, a point will come where you realize that you can generate that feeling for yourself independently from what the outside world is doing to you, for you. Whenever you have such a strong attachment to a thing, a thought, an idea, a person, remember that whatever you feel inside of you, you can feel that whether that person is with you or not. And it is only when you are only living in reality that you might fall out of your imaginary world. But that's not a solution on how to let go of it, of course. Now you're just fantasizing all day in La La Land. You got to function in the real world, obviously. So try to focus more on just you. You are feeling any way you want to feel. The problem is you have started to relate the way you feel to somebody outside of you. Your parent, your lover, your boyfriend, your spouse, anybody, your children. As long as you let people control how you feel, and I know a lot of the time it feels like that is not in our control. Like they always say, love just happens. When you're in love, you're gonna know it. I'm waiting for the day my daughter asks me, "What, Dad? What is love? What does that feel like?" It's a real simple answer. You'll know when you know. It's as simple as that, you know? Like, how do you explain love to a kid? Oh, the butterflies, yes. When you can think of nothing else but that person, you're probably in love. But as I said earlier, it has a lot of similarities to addiction. You crave that feeling, you want that feeling all the time, and if you don't have that feeling, you're seeking the feeling out wherever you can find it. Doesn't that sound a little dangerous? But yes, that is what I have learned from myself. I now appreciate the way that people, things, and ideas make me feel. I appreciate how these things make me feel. But I leave that objects without attachment now, or that person. I try very hard not to get attached to anything anymore because, like I just explained, that relation I really wanted in Belgium, it never happened. But that whole idea in my head was an anchor or a wrecking ball chained to my leg for all those years. When I finally came to America, I probably needed at least 2 years to unbuild this whole fantasy world in my head. Like I had to literally take it apart, slowly let it go. And I never even told myself this was all bullshit. I was so stupid for even thinking that could have been. No, some huge part of me realized that that person made me happy, whether we had a relation or not. That person had made me happy. I cannot deny that. To this day, I do not hate the person that I am talking about. I hate myself. I hate it, past tense. I hate it myself for not understanding sooner that everybody has the free will to enjoy the things that they enjoy. She enjoyed my friendship, nothing more. I enjoyed fantasizing everything I could about that girl. And look what my free will did to me. It devastated me. That is what it is to be human. We are the only thing on this planet that has free will, and it doesn't even come with a handbook. We are born, we make mistakes left and right, and we learn along the way. Some mistakes we recover very quickly from, like you smash a hammer on your finger, you'll know really quick to be more careful with a hammer next time. Or we get into a relation for 10, 20 years and we're near retirement before we even figure out how screwed up we became in the process. This is a really good talk. I like this. So the last part of this question became, what happens when we are able to put that person, that thing, or idea aside and actually move on? We become free. We become free from that attachment. We become observant of how quickly we grab on to things. Wow, that was amazing. I don't want to lose that. Wow, that person compliments me all the time. I don't want to lose that. Like, grab on to everything that makes you feel even a little bit better. That is what your reward is when you figure out that you need to let go of the things that you value so hard and so strongly that it's actually not helping you at all. It is devastating. I read a book 2 years ago, The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, I think. And there is a part in there that I love the whole book, by the way, but there is this one part in there that touches on this. And I love how it's written in such simplistic language that you can easily relate to. It basically talks about how we take everything personal in our life. And I said that in one of my earlier videos too. I learned to see the world as it's happening for me rather than it is happening to me. Just that one word change changes my whole perspective on everything. It leaves a gap between this is me and this is what's happening. Anyway, in the book, there is this story of the person that is driving along the highway and he sees this blue Mustang passing by, and he wonders if that's his ex-girlfriend's Mustang. I'm terrible at reiterating things that I've read before. Like, in my brain, it's such a beautiful, amazing, simple story. But anyway, the man is married now, and next to him is his wife. And as this happens, his thoughts are going back in the past. This has to do with what do you absorb and what do you just automatically let go of? What do you cling to and what do you just not care about? The point is, as you're driving along the highway, you're passing by trees, billboard signs. All of these things have of zero significance to you. You just see them and you let go of them. But here is this iconic thing that triggers a memory inside of you. And that's why you cannot just let this go by you like another tree or a billboard. Something is triggered inside of you that is related to a Mustang, is related to a female driver behind the wheel with a man holding her. As soon as you see anything like that, if it triggers a memory from the past, that means you are still attached to that. And what that book is actually about, it is about how to let go, really. The whole idea is to become an untethered soul. I have learned to no longer hold attachment on things around me. And better yet, I have even let go of the attachment to my own body. When something quote unquote bad happens to me now, I no longer feel like something bad happened to me. That is difficult to explain. It's like the ego is no longer here to take things personal. I explained that in another video by saying something along the lines of, I'm on the stage of life, but everything that observes inside of me is actually sitting in the audience on a chair far away from all the action. I'm even observing myself from a distance now. When I respond emotional to something that used to be a trigger for me back in the past, I took the time to figure out what caused that and why was that so devastating, so debilitating to me. And I'm not saying when I do have feelings for a person, I act ice cold, like, ooh, I don't want to get attached because I'm gonna, I don't want to get my feelings all bunched up again and get all confused or lost or depressed again. Like, I don't want to make anything so important that my world revolves around that one thing. See, if you think about that, if you make your whole life revolve around one thing, your demise is literally one mistake away. Let's say that one thing is a silly balloon The second the balloon gets popped, it's over. You will be devastating. Nothing will ever replace that balloon. Nothing will ever make me feel like that balloon again. It's a silly example, but you see what I mean? If you put all your dreams, your hopes, and your future on this one thing, if it falls, so do you. And that is what I had to learn for myself. I cannot make anything a crutch ever again. I can listen to people, I can ask for advice, I can admire a painting, a statue, or a beautiful garden, but I no longer need to cling to these things. That is the freedom that we have. We have the freedom to make ourselves that miserable, that laser pointed on one thing. And if that thing disappears, suddenly we're lost. We're in the thickest fog we can imagine. Yeah, it's you got to be careful with that. One thing that I have learned is be open about everything, but don't be open in a clingy way. Like, I love you is a simple statement. But if you start saying, I love you because you do my dishes, I love you because you rub my feet, I love you because you rub my back, I love you because you cut my hair, it starts to sound more and more like if that person disappears, I'm going to be a wreck. I appreciate everything anybody does for me, says to me, places we go together. I appreciate all these things. But when I come back to my normal life, which means wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, cook myself something to eat, take a shower, whatever. It doesn't depend on anything. I can just do these things and be happy with myself. If you feel that you are absolutely lost in somebody else, like madly in love, and it's devastating for you because they don't feel the same way or whatnot, try to appreciate that that person exists. That sounds strange, right? Try to appreciate everything that is beautiful in this world. Appreciate that that person makes you feel that good. You might not be able to have a relation with them. It might even be a person you've only seen from a distance every now and then, and you're just too scared to ever go talk to them. Appreciate that something, even if it's a person, could make you feel that good. And then also appreciate that you could feel that good. See what happened there? I'm pointing out to you that you were feeling good. And I'm cutting the sentence there. I'm not saying you were feeling good because that amazing person exists. Yes, that amazing person exists, but you are the one feeling that amazing feeling inside of you. And all I am telling you, what you can try is to construct a very simple bubble inside of you, in your heart, in your emotional field, where that feeling is the only thing that exists. Don't attach it to somebody else. Don't attach it to compliments from people overall in general. No. Catch that feeling in your chest, in your emotional field, in your aura, if you will, in your vibration. You can cultivate that feeling into something people can feel from far away. That is something that I have been doing for the last 15 years. When I appreciate something, and I'm going to sound silly, I know, but every now and then I come outside and I will just stare towards the sun. I usually do this late in the evening, or yeah, always in the evening because I never wake up early, but you see what I mean? The sun is never at its brightest point. It's like in the orange phase, slowly going towards yellow. I look at the sun and I am so ecstatic inside that I can feel the heat from the sun. I can feel its energy, and I know it's always going to be there. If it is not there, neither am I. But that is something nobody can ever take away. I have to die before that goes away. Try to appreciate something that is guaranteed to be there. And if you cannot guarantee that, construct something inside yourself. Maybe build an attachment to yourself for a while. Appreciate, make a list of the 5 things you enjoy doing by yourself the most. That could be very simple and silly things. Sitting on the couch watching your favorite TV show, reading a book on your back porch at night. I'm not kidding. Cleaning your house. Find a couple of things you can do by yourself that make you feel good. I learned to just enjoy everything I do in my life. If I'm doing something I'm not enjoying, I might as well turn around and not do it at all. But that is not an excuse for the chores you need to do around your house. You need to look after your house, your household, your family, your partner, your children, whatever you have going on. Don't run away from what is yours to take care of, but try to find a way to enjoy it. Try to appreciate yourself after you have finished the task. I hated mowing the lawn until I figured out that I really enjoy patterns. So, did I write my name in the lawn with the lawnmower? No. I would mow the lawn in perfect little parallel lines from the curb all the way towards the house. And I would make it a sport to see how parallel can I make each line. That's very easy to do with a riding mower because it goes so fast. You can just focus on a point in the distance and whoop, 30 seconds later you're there. With a push mower, that's a lot harder. You have to look towards the ground. So I am constantly closely observing the line of my previous mow path. That was an easy trick. So I've done that a couple times. It quickly becomes boring again. So what do? You mow your lawn in the opposite direction now. Vertical lines instead of horizontal. Simple things like that. And weirdly enough, sometimes I mow diagonal just for kicks, Find a way to enjoy it. Whatever it is you don't enjoy, try to find a way to make it more enjoyable. If none of that works, trying to do it a little different, God, put your favorite music in your ears. I don't know. Distract yourself a little bit, maybe. You see? But that is something all of us need to learn. We need to learn that we ourselves have to walk around for the rest of our lives with our feelings. The way you feel is the way you're going to walk around your entire life. So try your best to make a good feeling inside of you. If there is none, maybe it's time to work on that. Love yourself, appreciate yourself, do something nice for yourself. I've done it. You can do it too. I have every faith in you. And if you find difficulty with that, if there is something very particular that keeps dragging you into this fantasy world where you cannot come back to reality, please say something in the comments. If I feel I have some suggestion for you, some advice, I would love to give it to you free of charge. Absolutely. That's my whole purpose for this channel. Remind our souls that we are all here to learn from each other, to help each other, to support each other without having to cling to each other. We're all here to be the best version of ourselves, and anyone that helps us to get there, you should appreciate that, but not cling to it. Enjoy what you have while you have it. When it is time to let it go in peace. Don't hate it for making you feel so good first and then dropping you after. Don't load yourself for having, feeling like you've been, how could have been so stupid to fall for that? No. Appreciate that you have gotten to feel that amazing. Try not to link thoughts that go towards the future. Oh, I will find somebody else again. Because what's happening there is you're setting yourself up to be miserable until somebody else comes along again. That is probably another video I want to make, because I think that it is a mistake many people are making. Every now and then I go on a dating site just to see what's out there. I live a polyamorous lifestyle, and I'm not looking to date more people. I'm just saying every now and then I will turn on that dating app again just because I'm bored. Just to see what people are showing up in the pictures and what they write about themselves. Here is what struck me funny 2 weeks ago when I opened another one of those dating apps just to see. A lot of the descriptions are either blank or something along the line that basically says, I am bored just seeing what's out there. You see, that is what I was talking about. When your life is a disaster, if you are depressed because nobody is pulling you up constantly, looking for a relation should be the last thing on your mind. We have all fallen in that trap to believe somebody else is supposed to make us happy. I find it strange that almost nobody, even religions, are not really teaching you to be happy with yourself. How many religious people have you heard say, I'm happy because of Jesus? Jesus has saved me. You see, why is it that nobody can give themselves a little bit of credit? I'm not saying if Jesus is a big support to you, cast him out like he's not real. No, not at all. If something is beneficial to you, keep to it. But if it is devastating to you, please reconsider. Work on yourself is very important. Appreciate yourself. Very important. So, those were the questions from my friend. And I really like that topic because, like I said, my life, the last 15 years, that is all I've been doing. I've been studying my own emotions. I've been studying my link to the outside world. Why is it that things outside of me make me feel a certain way? Some things make me feel good. Some things make me feel sad, depressed, anxious, mad, angry, jealous. These are all things that I end up feeling inside of me. Have you ever heard a loud bang when you're alone in your house at night and suddenly you're scared? Like you have a feeling of being scared? The wind probably knocked a trash can over or something, but you felt a very strong way. You felt scared there. Your heart started thumping harder. Adrenaline was pumping, maybe. You felt that. Maybe you're too scared to go look outside. Maybe not. The next day, you'll probably figure out that your trash can is laying on its side now. So that was probably the loud bang you heard the night before. Investigate the fact that you felt something, although nothing had really happened. Yes, a loud bang spooked you. We'll get that. But who's feeling the emotions here? You are. That trash can did nothing to you to spook you. You did that to yourself. The trash can did that for you. Ha! See? The trash can made a loud noise so you could feel something and study that feeling. Like I said, I learned to appreciate everything. Just the carpet on my floor. I like how it's fuzzy and warm in the winter. My garden outside, I like how it is green. I like how it attracts the birds. Like I love that twittering sound in the summer. I have a cat walking around. I love her too, and she goes outside. Sadly, she comes home with a couple of dead birds every now and then, but you know, I cannot hate the cat for living its life, and I cannot hate the birds for being dumb enough to get caught by my cat. I just had to learn to appreciate everything as it is. I could easily hate my cat for killing things that I'm enjoying. I don't. I realize that is how it lives its life, and I will appreciate it just that way. If I have to leave my cat inside, I am not being true to myself because I don't believe in caging any animals. If you have a pet and you love it, give your pet some freedom. If it comes back to you, it loves you too. If it runs away, maybe your neighbor has better food. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't believe in casing things anymore that I love. And that includes my partners. When I appreciate something, I let it be free. If my partner wants to do things that have no interest to me, I'm not gonna say, "Oh no, no, you're not going out because I can't. I don't want to be there with you. Like, just stay home with me." You see, I am suffocating somebody because of my feelings. My jealousy, my insecurity is keeping that person from experiencing a little more happiness in their life. That's something else I'll probably make a video about. What do we do to our partners purely based on our own emotions? If you, I don't want to get into it right now, but if you just look inside yourself a little bit, it is all your scary fantasies, all your little insecurities that are playing in your head. And now you're pretty much putting your partner on a chain to the house or to you. Hey, we've all done that. We all have to learn and grow up and grow stronger and better and smarter sooner or later. Anyway, guys, I am going to end the video here. It is almost an hour long. It's a little longer than I intended, but as I said, my goal is to make videos between 30 and 90 minutes long. I would prefer them to be something you can listen to while you're driving in the car, while you're doing chores in your yard, or maybe even when you're sitting laying down on your bed at night or for a nap. A voice to listen to with some helpful information, hopefully. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Also, like the videos. By all means, do comment on them. Again, my videos in the future will be based purely on questions about things people struggle with. And you don't have to make it very personal, just a general idea of what you're struggling with. I will do my best to make the videos in such a way, hoping that I give you some advice you can do something with. I don't believe in advice such as, "You're gonna be okay. Don't worry about it." That is great for people who don't really know what they're doing with their life either. They're just a friend to you for, instant comfort, a little hug, a little, "You're going to be all right. Don't worry about it." I want to give more usable, functional advice, something that makes your life better permanently, something that makes you stronger for the rest of your life. If you fall over every time there's a little breeze, somebody else has to waste their life picking you up all the time. That sounds terrible saying it like that, but if you lean on your partner, think about what you're doing to your partner. You're making your partner your crutch. And when that crutch can no longer hold your weight, you're going to hate them for it. Something to think about. Anyway, guys, I wish you all a good night. Please subscribe. Please like the videos. Comment anything you like. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.